I'm Mitch Tebo. I am an actor. I work professionally as often as I can. I have lived in New York City since 1977. Originally from a farm in Nebraska, but I fell in love with theater at a very early age and have been sort of loving it ever since. So. My sister was an actress as well, and she was much older than me. She was already in college by the time I was an adolescent. And I remember seeing her do Ariel in Tempest. It was at a outdoor amphitheater situation, and I remember being fascinated by it. And then I had great English and drama teachers in high school. And although we didn't perform Shakespeare, we read it a lot. The language just seemed to call to me. I fell in love with the verse. I think it's made me a better actor. It's not easy to do Shakespeare, not easy to do well, I should say. And I think that the discipline that it takes to find the life in that verse and find the life of those characters is something that can apply to your whatever you're doing, whatever kind of role that you're doing. I think also it's just, it makes life more fun. I mean, doing Shakespeare is such fun. There's so much range of emotion and a lot of joy in how he wrote and what he wrote about, and it really, I think, broadens you somehow, broadens your personality and somehow. I think of Shakespeare as a second language. I think you need to be able to speak it fluently. I think you need to be able to cooperate with the verse, not try and make it sound contemporary. I think you need to investigate that verse and the rhythm and the meter. So, not all of it is verse, some of it is prose, but even so, you need to really understand the words that you are saying and then listen to what the author is telling you about it, because Shakespeare supplies so much in his language and in what the characters talk about. They give you the time, they give you the place, they give you the weather, they give you what I'm thinking about, what I'm feeling, etc. And I think you need to be willing to incorporate that. And then, if you're good, find how that resonates within yourself as a person. Great is a relative term, but I think if you give yourself over to what that author is trying to say, you'll be successful in it. Although all of Shakespeare's protagonists in some way engage with the audience, Richard reaches out to enlist the audience in what's going on, right? He says, look at what I'm going to do. And he says, look at me doing it. And then he says, look at what I just did, you know? And they really become sort of a co-conspirator with him in all his plans. And I think that is great fun to play. Plus, it's always fun to play a villain. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war has smoothed his wrinkled front, and now instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass, I that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph, I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak, piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasures of these days.